Welcome back to the Las Vegas Raiders franchise here on Madden 25. In the last episode, we officially wrapped up Season 1, and unfortunately, we barely missed the playoffs. We had a chance to go, needed to win our final game of the season, and came out and lost 30-7. You can see our offense was not very good this year. We finished 31st in points per game, 32nd in passing yards per game, and 21st in rushing yards per game. And obviously with stats like that, we cannot keep our offense the same way it was throughout the entire season. So after looking up a lot of stuff about this game, apparently the Chargers are one of the better playbooks, that it's a little bit more balanced and you run and throw the ball well. So we're changing our offensive playbook to the Chargers, our offensive scheme to a multiple power run, but we are going to be firing offensive coordinator Rod Starling because I feel like someone has to pay for this. And fortunately for us, there is an offensive coordinator here available in Kevin McGovern. He runs a multiple power run, which is what we want. Does use the Patriots offensive playbook. I honestly have no idea if that matters, but that is who we will be hiring. The great thing with Kevin McGovern is he actually already came with several tabs into the quarterback guru, and we had enough points from hiring him to max out these three. It's really my favorite thing to have on a coordinator, especially when you have a young quarterback, which we probably will next season. Because our quarterbacks this year were honestly awful. Geno Smith didn't even play that bad most of the time, just really could not finish drives. 59% completion percentage is not good, but he had 11 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Tommy Malott only started the last handful of games of the year and came away with 10 picks thrown on the year and 5 passing touchdowns. Not exactly what I'm looking for. One thing that did not help Geno Smith, though, is our offensive line kind of let him get murdered because he was sacked 48 times. And moving on to running the ball, the offense just never found its rhythm this year. Ashton Jeanty only 790 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns on the season. Geno Smith finished with more rushing touchdowns on the year. Not what you want to happen when your quarterback in his 13th year in the league has more rushing touchdowns than your rookie that you took with the 6th overall pick. Our number one receiver this year was Jacoby Myers with 879 yards and 6 touchdowns. Brock Bowers only found the end zone twice, but did have 758 yards. Bech in his rookie year, 613 yards and a touchdown. Trey Tucker caught 3. Ashton Jeanty got 2 receiving touchdowns. And then Dante Thornton Jr. got 1 and Michael Mayer got 1. Landon Roberts led our team in tackles, which is probably not a shock because he seemed to lead the team in tackles most games. And the most sacks on the season goes to Max Crosby, who got 16.5 for us. Christian Wilkins got 8.5. Tonka Hemingway, who missed a handful of games, ended up with 6.5 on the year. He was a surprise this year, and I'm really glad that he seemed to develop well this year. Landon Roberts got 2.5. Trey Taylor got 2. Rasheem Green got 2. Adam Butler got 2. And then Kuntz got 1. John Jenkins got 1. And then it looks like Justin Simmons and Rasul Douglas both shared 1. And in interceptions, Justin Simmons came away with 6 on the season. Asante Samuel Jr. got 4. Rudy Ford came away with 4. Rasul Douglas got 2, and then Trey Taylor and Jeremy Chin both came away with 1. Our kicker, Daniel Carlson, went 28 for 31 in the year, good for 90%, and made every single extra point. And then punting, AJ Cole had to punt the ball 70 times this season. Let's see how that compares to the rest of the league. This is definitely not the stat you want to lead the league in. So we had the most punts, just ahead of the Miami Dolphins, and by just ahead, I mean we punted the ball 7 more times. Not good. What is kind of good is that Daniel Carlson didn't make the most field goals on the year with 28 and did not attempt the most. That goes to Graham Gano. And then who was the most accurate kicker? It looks like it was Austin Seibert and Harrison Butker, who both made 94%. Leading the league in passing yards is going to be Patrick Mahomes, who threw for 4,800 yards on the year. What about most touchdowns? That goes to Jordan Love, who threw 55 this season. And then interceptions goes to Cam Ward, who threw 23. Michael Penix threw 22. Had I started Tommy Malott the entire year, probably would have easily had the most picks. Then for your rushing stats, Josh Jacobs got 303 carries. The most yards goes to Joe Mixon over in Houston. He also came in with 20 rushing touchdowns, but Derrick Henry got 22 to lead the league there. And the Ravens offense just looks like it was completely stupid because Lamar Jackson also had 19 rushing touchdowns. How many passing touchdowns did Lamar have? I'm strictly just curious on this one. It looks like he threw for 27. So yeah, Baltimore was very efficient this season. Leading the league in receptions is going to be Jaden Reed, who came away with 108. So they had the guy with the most receptions and the guy with the most rush attempts. Okay. And then yards, Puka Nacua got 1,600, and most touchdowns goes to Rashee Rice, who came away with 23 on the year. Look at Keenan Allen come up with 22 on the year in his 13th year in the league. The Jets middle linebacker Sherwood led the team in tackles with 143 of them. In sacks, that does go to Max Crosby. So we actually led the league, which is really cool to see. And interceptions goes to Dante Jackson over in Los Angeles. Here is what your playoff bracket looks like for this season. So let's figure out who is going to the Super Bowl. But before we do that, let's see if any of our guys have made the Pro Bowl. Obviously, we are looking over on the AFC side this time. And if I look over anybody, I do apologize. I will try to catch any name, but so far, I don't think any of our guys have made it. And I believe we are going to be through the entire offense, and yeah, no one is there. Max Crosby should actually make it here, and he will be right there. So we get Max Crosby on the list, and that may honestly be it, unless Asante Samuel snuck in here, and it does not look like it. What about Justin Simmons? All right, so he did make it. So we get Max Crosby and Justin Simmons. If I looked over anybody, I do apologize, and you can let me know in the comments if I did. Well, this Super Bowl would definitely be interesting. The Baltimore Ravens and the Washington Commanders, who get their revenge over Philadelphia from last year's NFC Championship and escape with a 35-34 victory, and now get a chance to win the Super Bowl here. Before we simulate that, though, we need to figure out who won all of the league awards. And the NFL MVP goes to Lamar Jackson. I am not shocked at all after seeing his stats. And the Coach of the Year goes to John Harbaugh. We will look at the NFC first. The NFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Blake Cashman. Offensive Rookie goes to Matthew Golden in Green Bay. I'm sure Packers fans would love that. Defensive Rookie goes to Abdul Carter for the Giants. Best Quarterback goes to Jordan Love. Best Running Back goes to Saquon Barkley. Best Receiver goes to Amon-Ra. Best O-Line goes to Damian Lewis in Carolina. Best D-Line goes to Aiden Hutchinson. Best Linebacker goes to Micah Parsons. Best DB goes to Jair Alexander. And then Best Kicker goes to Austin Seibert. Now, over on the AFC side, we will try to see if any of our guys make any of these lists. I would imagine Max Crosby is going to be up there. But for Offensive Player of the Year, that goes to Lamar Jackson. Defensive Player of the Year does go to Max Crosby. So we get at least one award. Offensive Rookie goes to Travis Hunter. Ashton Jeanty comes in second. Jack Bech down here at 7th for that award. Defensive Rookie goes to Mason Graham in Cleveland. And it looks like Tonka Hemingway came away in 3rd on that one. Had he not gotten hurt and missed like 3 to 4 games, he may have been able to win that award. Best Quarterback does go to Lamar Jackson. Neither one of our guys are going to be up there, obviously. Best Running Back goes to Joe Mixon. Best Receiver goes to Rashee Rice. Best Offensive Line goes to Tyler Linderbaum. And we actually get a couple guys up here. No, we only get, no, there is several guys up here, actually. Cody Whitehair, Andres Pete, and Alex Kappa all make this list. That's a bit surprising, to be honest. Best D-Line goes to Myles Garrett. And then Best Linebacker does go to Max Crosby. Best DB goes to Dante Jackson. And we at least get Justin Simmons up here. Asante Samuel should be here. And he's actually below Rudy Ford, which is kind of surprising. But the best kicker goes to Harrison Butker over Daniel Carlson. If you have seen me do any franchise before, I will always complain about this because I hate this fact. But in the Super Bowl week is when all of your guys can actually upgrade their depth traits, and then they can possibly lose it whenever you go to the offseason, which is completely dumb. Does not look like anyone has changed here. And then over on defense, the only change I see is Justin Simmons goes from a superstar to a superstar X Factor. And the Baltimore Ravens are Super Bowl champions by a final score of 28-10, and the Super Bowl MVP goes to Derrick Henry. And now we finally start the offseason. We are going to kick it off with the retirements, and we lose running back Raheem Mostert and defensive tackle John Jenkins. Not massive losses, but we are going to need to try to replace them. Around the rest of the NFL, Nick Folk has retired, Aaron Rodgers, Cameron Hayward, and Darius Slay have all retired as a member of the Steelers. Jonathan Hankins has retired, Troy Hill, Demario Davis, Cameron Jordan, Bobby Wagner, Nick Moore, Raheem Mostert, John Jenkins, Jimmy Ward, Trey Turner, Morgan Moses. And then we have Andy Dalton and Adam Thielen both retiring, Greg Zuerlein, Tyrod Taylor, Graham Gano, Greg Van Roten, Tayshaun Gibson, Trent Williams, Kirk Cousins, Lane Johnson has retired, Von Miller, and then any other massive names. I would say Calais Campbell, and then you got Levante David, and if I'm looking over anybody, I do apologize. Case Keenum has retired, Joe Flacco has retired in free agency, and then any other big name free agents that have retired. I mean, Cordell Patterson's kind of there, Amir Abdullah, Ezekiel Elliott, Robert Woods. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any other just massive names here. And as I'm thinking about it, we obviously moved on to a new offensive coordinator with Kevin McGovern. But our defensive scheme is a disguised 3-4, and our defensive coordinator is currently running a 4-3 under. And I know our defense was good last season, but I think it could be even better. I honestly do not know if coordinators affect gameplay at all. But we are going to fire our defensive coordinator and see if we can hire one that better fits our scheme. What's funny is we do have this option of Antonio Pierce, obviously, who was the Raiders linebackers coach and got promoted to interim head coach and was their head coach for a couple years before getting fired. But I think we're going to bring him in as our defensive coordinator. He fits our defensive scheme. We get a few hiring bonus points here, and I feel like he'll just fit in nicely. We can now move on to the re-signing part of the offseason, and there are some guys here that I want to bring back, but we're probably going to let a good amount of these guys walk. Before I offer Justin Simmons a contract, I do want to see what progression he lost. So he lost a little bit of catching, acceleration, speed, play rec, agility, zone coverage. He lost 4. That could be a massive drop. It's still an 85. You know, I feel like he's probably going to be worth a small contract. We'll see what he wants. He only wants a 1-year deal worth about $8 million. I think I'm willing to do that if he is willing to take this offer. And yeah, so we get to keep Justin Simmons. Next up, I would love to bring Jordan Meredith back as a cheap option in case we don't upgrade guard at all. So offer him a 2-year deal and he will also be returning. But from here, I am thinking everyone else is going to get to walk into free agency either because I feel like we can get a better player at that position either in the draft or in free agency itself, or they're just not interested in coming back. So those are the guys that will be leaving us. Now, before we actually get into free agency, there is one thing left to do. Quarterback Geno Smith, a 74 overall, would save us $28.3 million in cap space. And I want to say this. In real life, the Raiders may not move on after a season. But in Madden, he has dropped to a 74 overall. I am not willing to pay that $38.5 million for our cap hit next season. And we actually have a trade offer here. The Jets are willing to give us wide receiver Xavier Gibson and a 6th round pick in this draft. Being completely honest, I have no idea what draft picks the Raiders actually have for the next NFL draft. But here we have all of our own draft picks along with a 7 from Green Bay because we actually had a corner that signed with Green Bay in real life still on this roster. So I sent him over to Green Bay for a 7th round pick. I believe it was Nate Hobbs, just so we could actually get him on the right team. Now back to this trade the Jets are offering. We do get another 6th round pick for this draft. Let's see how good Xavier Gibson is. Let's view his player card real fast. He's a 72 overall. We know that going into his 4th year, and he's got 92 speed, 94 acceleration. Not great route running. Solid catching, I guess, mid catching at best. But let's go ahead and actually take him out of the trade and this 6th round pick. And let's see if they're willing to give us a 4th round pick for him right there at pick number 99. We'll see if they take that. And yeah, they're going to take that deal. So we dump Geno Smith back to the Jets and we pick up a 4th round pick. Like I've already said, the Raiders may or may not move on from Geno in real life, but in Madden, it's the smart move to do here. But we now have $100 million in cap space. So let's see what kind of help we can get to this team. Unfortunately for us, though, I think this might be the worst free agency class I've ever seen in this game. I have a feeling it's something to do with the updated rosters that I am using and just no one getting cut or letting their contracts expire. So that does kind of suck, but we'll see if we can add any help at all. I honestly think I have managed to make the best out of a really bad free agency class. I brought in some depth guys just because there's not going to be a lot of big name starters, obviously, when your #1 free agent is an 82 overall corner. A lot of these guys are just on 1-year contracts, so they may just be 1-year rentals. Hell, they may not even make the final 53-man roster. But here are the free agents that I've managed to bring in. Wide receiver Quez Watkins at a 71 overall. Just adds a lot of speed to our receiver room and maybe can do some returning on kicking and punting. Then we brought back defensive end Adam Butler. I signed defensive end Derek Barnett. I brought in tight end Zach Ertz to be a mentor for Brock Bowers to develop him just a little bit faster. Defensive back Trey Brown has been brought in. I tried to read the next name too. Defensive tackle DJ Jones. Then we got outside linebacker Baron Browning, running back AJ Dillon, middle linebacker Nakobe Dean, and honestly, our big kind of splashy free agent was defensive end Zadarius Smith. I don't know how much he's going to be able to help us at 33 years old, but we're at least going to give him a shot. Just in case you want to see where some of the top rated free agents went from this class, Rasul Douglas is headed to Pittsburgh. Looks like Alvin Kamara is remaining in New Orleans. Will Hernandez is headed to Seattle. Elijah Molden is a Viking, and then Brian Anger is a Colt. Yeah, we are recapping where a punter signed in free agency. That's how bad it was. And what does an awful free agency class mean for a franchise rebuild? It means we really have to get the NFL draft right. I have gotten the grade on every single quarterback for their talent grade, and the only ones really worth a first-round pick are Michael Elliott, Blake Foster, and then the guy that won the Heisman, Johnny Davidson. And as you already saw earlier, we have the 14th overall pick, and right now this mock draft is expecting us to take a defensive end. I can almost guarantee you that is not happening. But that will move us to the NFL draft, the very first draft of this franchise rebuild here. So let's see what the number 1 pick is going to be. It will be, I believe it's going to be a corner. It is corner Justin Turk, and I think he was going to be really good, maybe a generational level talent, but not something I wanted to trade all the way up to number 1 to take. And at pick number 3, we have our first quarterback off the board. It is Johnny Davidson, the one that won the Heisman. He is probably going to be incredibly good, and he heads to the Jets, who just traded for Geno Smith, so that'll be interesting. And now we have our next quarterback off the board, and it is quarterback Roman Tart, who also seems to be pretty solid. He goes at pick number 9 to the New Orleans Saints. Following that, no other quarterback is taken in the first round all the way up until our pick at pick number 14, so let's see if we can make our decision. You can see all of the prospects here, starting with quarterback Greg Poole down to Blake Foster. Chris Kramer, we're probably not going to take you. I am an OU fan, don't really care that you're out of Oklahoma though. Michael Elliott is also a possibility here. A awareness, A short accuracy, B medium, and then up here, Greg Poole does have A medium. What is your deep accuracy, Elliott? It is a B. Throw on the run's an A. Throw under pressure is an A. That throw on the run being an A is pretty good. Break sack is a B. Play action's a B. Carry and B to C. Juke move A to B. Juke move on a quarterback? A to B stamina and B injury. All right, Michael Elliott, you have my attention. He is 22 years old, out of Syracuse, 6'3", 217 pounds. And then his physical trait, he has elite speed, ran a 4.37 and a 4.35. Have we found a white Michael Vick here? A awareness, B break sack, B deep accuracy, B medium, A short, A throw on the run, A under pressure. Yeah, all right, this guy is definitely looking like he would be a solid pick. Really, the only way I am trading this pick is if I only fall back a few spots, and I need to pick up picks in this draft. Like this one for the 49ers, falling back 6 spots and only picking up a 3rd next year, not really going to help me. A 1st next year. Philadelphia offered me a 1st and 2nd this year, but they want me to fall all the way back to 29. That's not happening. And then the Colts are offering picks for next year. You know what? I think we're just going to take our quarterback. We may make some trades later on in the draft, but right now I am going to double check what are his physicals so we get to see everything here. And then we see speed. He is the only one with elite speed here. Apparently, it said he was 2nd on the 40 time, which is a bit weird. Maybe Hugh Donaldson was also really fast. And then throw power is great. Not elite, but still really good. I want to see what other guy ran a faster 40 time at quarterback. Looks like the only other guy was Lane Jackson, who straight up didn't run it. So that's how Michael Elliott's classed as 2nd. That's a little bit absurd. Either way, Michael Elliott, you are going to be the pick here. So with the 14th pick in the draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select quarterback Michael Elliott, and please be a hidden dev trait, ranked 11 in true value, and is a hidden dev trait with 92 speed and 92 throw power. And a couple of those quarterbacks end up falling into the 2nd round. Greg Poole heads to Arizona with pick number 39, and Lane Jackson to Seattle with pick number 42. And obviously, we're not going to be taking him, but quarterback Chris Kramer, who was projected to go in the 1st round and got a grade of round 3 to 4 in talent, is still available here in the 2nd, so definitely a fall for him. And before anyone says anything, I understand I really need to improve the offensive line, but at left tackle, we have just potential undrafted free agents here in the 2nd round. And then over at right tackle, we just have some guys projected to go on day 3, so nothing to burn a 2nd round pick on. Then over at guard, you have CJ Foster and Jackson Clark, and I may take one of these guys in the 3rd round. And I really would take CJ Foster in the 2nd round if it wasn't for this F run block power. That kind of concerns me. What about right guard? Do we have anything there? We have Earl Ham and Justin Creighton. We may go this direction. Bryce Westbrook also looks to be pretty solid right now, so we could go that direction. And then at center, we have Sean Drew and JD Young. I don't like a lot of the stats I'm seeing on these guys. Can someone tell me if I'm looking at this wrong? I try to look at our trade options here, and we have a few nice ones, I guess. But the Cleveland Browns are offering pick 51 and pick 179. The issue I'm having, though, is the Colts are also offering pick number 51. They're offering pick 176, though. Who owns pick 51? Looking at the draft board, it's actually the Browns that own pick number 50. But I'm kind of afraid to take that because what in the world would happen? I mean, the Colts are giving us an earlier pick later in the draft, but that definitely says pick number 51. I'm going to go ahead and take the Browns offer just because I'm going to really hope that it gives us pick number 50 and not 51. Be really odd if it gave us pick number 50 here. And it looks like it did give us 50. All right, don't know why it was saying 51, but we now have the 50th pick in the draft. And we're going to end up trading that pick as well. We are going to send it to Philadelphia to fall back 11 spots and pick up a 4th round pick. I am honestly really torn. One of the guards got taken, but Bryce Westbrook looks to be pretty solid, and so does Justin Creighton here at right guard. The only thing that kind of concerns me is Westbrook really does not have great run block, but he does have A impact block. We can't see his full run block grade, but we can see that his run block finesse is not good. We can see that Creighton's is actually pretty solid, but he only has B awareness as opposed to A awareness, and then Westbrook has A pass block. Let's just see what their strengths are going to be here. His strength is decent. Sometimes this is a decent indicator of if the lineman's actually going to be good. And then Justin Creighton is going to be another decent strength. Okay, that is not what we wanted to see at all. I was hoping one of you guys would actually stand out. Then over at left guard, we have CJ Foster and Jackson Clark. They are both still here. And we can see that his run block power is not very good, but his impact block is an A, which means he can hold his block. I believe that's what impact block is supposed to mean in this game. And injury is C to F. That's not what we want to see either. I really have no idea where to go here late in the 2nd round. All right, after taking what feels like forever to make my pick, obviously to you guys has not been that long, we're going to take right guard Bryce Westbrook, 21 years old, out of Texas, A awareness, A impact block, A pass block. I do not care what his run block is because I feel like he's going to be a really good player. So Bryce Westbrook, welcome to Vegas, and he's number 69 in true value. We took him at 61, and he is a hidden dev trade. And in case you were at all curious about the other quarterback that was projected to go in the 1st round, Chris Kramer fell all the way to pick number 75 and is headed to Los Angeles to be a Ram. And in the 3rd round, we're going to take another trade here with Philadelphia again, actually, and we're going to pick up pick number 93 and pick number 140. With that trade, we now move into the late 3rd round, and I am fine taking guys that are projected day 3 with that. And I think we're going to take defensive tackle DeAndre Leverett out of Penn State, 23 years old, 6'5", 309 pounds. He has C block shedding and C tackle. So for a late 3rd round pick, I feel like it's not bad. Does have D injury, which is a bit concerning, but he has elite level strength as a defensive tackle. We're going to go ahead and take him. Welcome to Las Vegas, number 109 in true value, and he is a normal dev trade. We are now moving on to round number 4, where I'm going to take wide receiver Deontay Robertson out of Colorado, 21 years old, A catching traffic, C catching, F deep route and release, and then solid speed and great acceleration. I just see that that is a day 3 projection and a round 2 to 3 talent grade. So Robertson, I feel like you're going to be an okay pick for us. Welcome to Las Vegas, number 71 in true value, and will be a hidden dev trade. Just a handful of picks later, we pick at number 14 in the 4th round as well. I'm going to take corner Chris Matthews out of Western Michigan. B catching, C man coverage, B press, and D zone. Has solid speed, great acceleration, and he is 6'2", 209 pounds. So welcome to Las Vegas. And he is going to be 159 in true value and a normal dev trade. So not a great pick there, but we are in round number 4 at this point. I am just going to pull the trigger here on this receiver in round number 4. So yeah, we're going to take 2 receivers in the 4th round with pick number 28. Wide receiver Sean Bishop out of Miami, 23 years old, 6 foot tall, 188 pounds. B catching traffic and B catching. Does have F release, but his talent grade is top 5. A projected day 3 top 5 talent. Most likely going to be a normal dev trade in my experience, but he is the number 5 talent in true value and a normal dev trade. Moving on into the 5th round, we have pick number 12, and we're going to use it on right guard Spencer Coleman out of West Virginia. and he is going to be number 188 in true value and a normal depth trait as well. Just a couple selections later, we have our own pick at pick number 14 here in round number 5, and we're going to take corner Max Winston out of Kentucky, and let's see if he's going to come in with a hidden depth trait. Can we get that lucky? Is number 110 in true value, but a normal depth trait. Now in round number 6, we are going to take a right tackle and Kareem Thomas out of Minnesota, and he is going to come in as number 281 in true value. All right, just pretend we did not make this pick. He is also a normal depth trait. Another selection we have in round number 6, we're going to use on middle linebacker Andy Olsen out of Oregon, and the draft clock expired. Okay, what? The draft clock has not expired. I went back and tried to make the pick again, but it's just not letting me. So I guess I'll just advance the next pick, and we're taking outside linebacker Cam Flanagan. Well, good news for us is that Andy Olsen is still here in the 7th round. Will it let me select him now? Yes, it will. Number 326 in true value. Maybe that's why it wasn't letting me select him. That is an awful pick. I honestly thought he had pretty solid attributes. I don't know what is keeping his rating so low. With our final pick in the draft, we're going to take wide receiver Nazir Kerr out of Ole Miss, 21 years old, and he is just incredibly fast. Ignore that true value because I'm probably actually going to move him to running back because I feel like we kind of need more of a burner at that position, but we'll see where he fits in on the team. All in all, I think I've had worse draft classes come and go here, but Michael Elliott, our first round pick, is a 76 overall, and hopefully our franchise quarterback, Bryce Westbrook, is a 72. DeAndre Leverett was not a great pick, a 69 overall. Then we got a 72 overall receiver, a 67 overall corner, a 77 overall receiver. Now, granted, he was a normal depth trait. We actually only got 2 hidden depth traits in this entire class, which really does suck. Right guard is a 66 overall in Spencer Coleman that we took in round number 5. Got a 69 overall corner, a 64 overall right tackle, a 65 overall outside linebacker that I did not get to select. The computer selected that one because it would not let me. And then a 62 overall middle linebacker. And finally, Nazir Kerr, can we at least see how good you are? He is a 65 overall receiver. Like I said, though, might be moving him over to running back. And I told you guys at the start of the draft that Justin Turk looked like he was going to be a pretty good corner. He is an 80 overall and the number 1 player in this class. The number 2 player was Akeem Pleasant, and then Johnny Davidson was the number 3 player at a 78 overall, obviously going number 3 overall to the Jets. And then there was a 78 overall running back. So it looks like Joe Mixon may be on his way out in Houston. I always like to see how our division drafted, and it looks like the Broncos got a 75 overall receiver, a 71 overall defensive tackle, and then just a few players that I highlighted out we will see, but we will probably end up seeing wide receiver Larry Brown. The Chargers ended up with a 73 overall left end and a 74 overall right guard. They also drafted a backup quarterback, I guess, in Roger Paxton. Then it looks like Kansas City tried to get their offensive line to be a bit better by taking a center in the first round. I don't know what happened to Creed Humphrey or if they are just drafting a backup there for some reason. A 72 overall corner and a 74 overall safety. Okay, so they seem to have drafted pretty well. That, however, will wrap up the offseason here for the Las Vegas Raiders franchise on Madden 25. And the next one, we will take care of the entire preseason, and I will see if I make any roster moves in between this episode and the next one.